YL2. This is take two because I kind of went off on a rant. I could not post, but we're here today for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the 1818 text. If I was good at this at all, I would have just edited out my what I said and kept going. But we're starting fresh. Um, First off, if you are a student and you have a book report due tomorrow, you're in the wrong place. Go watch some other video because I will fail you. I will tell you that much right now. This might be like text for high schoolers. I struggled. I completely struggled with this book. It's nothing against Mary Shelley. It this is an amazing work. You gotta figure she was like 17 or 18 or something when she wrote this. When I was 17 or 18, I was an idiot. Well, I still am an idiot, but I wasn't doing this. So I'm not. Don't think of this video as me saying that Mary Shelley and or Frankenstein is horrible. It's just that I don't do well with English literature, and I definitely don't do well with English literature early 19th century. It's just it the way that people wrote back then just does not click with me at all. It's hard for me. Um, Mary Shelley was born. Oh, and I should say too, if you want to get yourself a copy of the Oxford World Classic of Mary Shelley Frankenstein, the 1818 text, I have an affiliate link down below if you go use it to purchase this book or any other Frankenstein. I get a little commission. You get an awesome book at no extra cost to you. And I have the hiccups all of a sudden. Excuse me. Let's hope that doesn't continue. Uh, Mary Shelley, born August 30th, 1797 in London, died February 1st, 1851 in London, published January 1st, 1818. The story of how the story came along is a very interesting one. I'm going to butcher it, but essentially, her and her husband and Lord Byron and maybe some other people were in like Switzerland, had like a little vacation going. It was like the weather was just bad, so they like challenged each other to write. I don't know if it was horror per se or what, but like a short story or whatever. And that was the beginnings of Frankenstein. That's what she did, and her husband, I forget her, Percy or whatever his name was. I don't know if that's right. Uh, Kind of convinced her to kind of flush it out and work on it, and boom, you had the 1818 text. And they call it the 1818 text because something like 30-ish years later or whatever, she added to it or kind of fixed it up a little bit and added like a foreword or whatever. And as far as I know, from what I understand, the text doesn't change all that much. But a lot of people are to this day, 200 years later, are still give her grief for going back and updating it or whatever. So, whatever. It is what it is. Now, I'm going to butcher. I want to talk about this, and I want you to butcher it. I want to get things wrong. I want to get things out of order. But I want to do my best. No, at any time I could say a spoiler. I don't know if you really need to say spoiler alert for something that's 200 years old, but but um, just know that if you want to read this, go read it. It's very short. It's under 200 pages, and it's like this copy is I don't know, like 150 pages or something. I ain't gonna really hunt it down. It doesn't take long to read if you're any good at reading old English. Not there's not like thous and these and things. If you're good at reading like uh, Dickens or Trollope or any of those guys, you'll probably be awesome at this, or Jane Austen or whatever. You'll be awesome at reading this. I do not. I'm terrible at it. So anyway, we're 5 minutes in and I still haven't got to it. So Frankenstein is not the monster. if you say Frankenstein's a monster on your book report tomorrow, you're going to fail it. That teacher will know firsthand you did not read the book. If you start putting in Mel Brooks quotes in it, they're really going to know that you didn't read the book, because Young Frankenstein is nothing like this. No, it's not. I kind of like Young Frankenstein better, but that's a different video. There's a few thumbs down. So the beginning confused the living hell out of me, because this dude's like writing letters to his sister, and I don't really, to this day, I don't know if this story is like one giant long letter to his sister, or what the letters even have to do with anything. That, just cut it out, Mary Shelley. I hope in your revised text that those letters just disappeared, because that was confusing for me, very much so. And I should say too that my critiques, or did I already say? I don't remember if I said it or not, but if, just in case, real quickly, my critiques on this is nothing against Mary Shelley. It's nothing against the book. I think it's just amazing what she did at that age, and blah blah blah. So Frankenstein. So these guys are on a ship in the North Pole or whatever, doing some sort of a thing, and they see off in the distance this giant monster. And then a while later, they hear a commotion. They look down. There's a dude that's like stuck on a glacier, and they get him on the ship. They get him kind of, um, he's sick or whatever. They kind of get him to a point where he's well enough to talk, and he tells his story, and that is Frankenstein. I also apologize right now. If I at any time call the monster Frankenstein, do not kill me down in the comment section. It's an honest mistake. Pop culture and movies and television shows and everything else makes you think that the monster's called Frankenstein or whatever. Or it's not. So it's just a slip of the tongue. Um, and he tells the story, and this is where I want to do my best. So Frankenstein's like a medical student. He goes off to school. He's got I believe, a younger brother and a cousin who's like a sister to him that he's supposed to be marrying. That's where I got off the deep end on take one. I said some things I probably really shouldn't have, so just um, made fun of the royal family a little bit, but we won't go there. So the coronation just a couple days ago, at the time of this recording. Anyway, he goes off to school, become a doctor. When his plan when he comes back is to marry his sister cousin, and while he's off at school, he creates the monster. Right, he gets various parts. He's out digging through graveyards and stuff. He creates a brain somehow. I don't know how you create a brain, but he created a brain and mashed it all together, created this like 8 foot tall person, and there's the monster. And I forget how, but the monster leaves. I forget if he was ran off, or if he ran off, or Frankenstein shunned him, or what. But the monster runs off, and he goes to hide out in like this shed or shanty or whatever. It's this family's house. The dad's blind. As far as I know, the kids are kind of older. They're kind of living with their blind dad. And through this, he's able to kind of learn to read and talk, and he learns what love is and all this stuff. He's not a dumb monster. He's just misunderstood. And one day the kids are gone, so he decides he's going to use his newfound skills, and he ends up going to the house and talking to the blind dad. And the kids come home, freak out. He runs off. He's pissed off to no end. The monster, that is pissed off to no end. I believe that's when he goes and kills Frankenstein's younger brother. could be before the shed. I a little foggy there. Um, but he kills Frankenstein's brother, and actually um, the the nanny or whatever goes down for that crime. Which, spoiler alert, if you did not watch my Junji Ito video yesterday, I just want to say real quick, he had a really cool twist on this story where, um, I'll hold off for a second. Anyway, um, so Frankenstein's pissed off to no end because this monster did it, but he doesn't throw the monster under the bus, or maybe he didn't know the monster did it. I forget. I know I'm terrible. Anyway, hey, you know what? I admit when I come up short on reading books. If anything, I am honest on this. If you don't believe I'm honest on these videos, go check out my Play-Doh videos. I talk about nothing for 8 minutes because I don't understand a single thing in them. Anyway, so um, blah blah blah. At one point, the monster's like, "I'm lonely. You need to create another one, a female version of me, so that way I can find love and 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 all the wrong places." And Frankenstein thinks about it. He's like, "No, I'm not doing that because who knows if the new one will be worse or won't like him or whatever." And the monster promises, "Hey, you build me a pretty lady, and I'll be out of your hair forever. You'll never hear from me again. And I'll go to South America or whatever it was." And Frankenstein's like, "Okay, I'll do it." And so he starts doing it, and then midway through, he changes his mind. He's like, "Nope, not doing it." Destroys the what he had created, or how far up he got. He destroyed. Frankenstein almost did it. The monster saw him do it and threw a fit, and he goes hunts down Frankenstein's sister cousin wife on their married day, or married day on their wedding day, or right around their wedding day. Kills her in revenge, and there and then I think that's where you kind of pick up on the boat, because he's like trying to hunt down Frankenstein and take care of him. And then Frankenstein, spoiler alert, at the end Frankenstein dies. And at some point too, it might be after, at some point his friend, he had a friend, Clavicle or something, I don't remember. He had a friend in there too that was like helping him with the female, I think. And Frankenstein kills his friend too, and but somehow Frankenstein ends up getting accused of his friend's death, but doesn't actually get, like, they had nothing on him, so he ends up getting let free. So that happened at some point. I don't really exactly remember where. I think it was part of the retaliation for destroying the female monster. But that's essentially Frankenstein in a nutshell, I think. Um, my thoughts on it is, again, like I said, I struggle with books of this era to begin with. And I really struggle with English literature, period. And I really, really struggle with English literature 19th century. Um, I have to say, though, out of the English literature of this, say, pre 1900, I really can't think of anything even post 1900 that I've even really read, besides High Fidelity, which I love, but it probably won't be around for 200 years. And Aldous Huxley, but I don't know if he really counts, because I think he didn't really blow up until he came to the States. Um, I can't really think of any other English books I really, besides like Christmas Carol and things like that back in 19 diggity too. But I don't even know where I was going with that bit. it's considering this was written by like a 17-year-old, that's mind blowing. It's not perfect by any means, but I, I couldn't write something like this at 40, let alone 17. At 17, I was a DA. I was a dumbass. Part of my French. I still am a dumbass, obviously, because I can't understand high school literature. But I think this one. I think this is. I think this is a difficult text. I think it's more difficult than a lot of people lead you to believe. So I don't feel completely dumb that I struggled with it. Um, but I think it. I think it's more difficult. Like people think of this as like in the same vein as Harry Potter or what else? What was Twilight or what? No, this is way harder than anything that a teenager these days would probably pick up on their own, or a novice teenager, your run of the mill teenager is probably going to struggle with this. I think honestly, your average adult that's not a uh, a reader would probably struggle with this. I am a reader and I struggled with it, so I don't think it's an easy text by any means. I think it's a really rewarding text if you make it through. Um, it's dark, and I've seen other people and have read that a lot of people consider this the first science fiction novel, um, which I can't confirm nor deny that, but I guess with my limited experience with science fiction, I can see how it could be, Michael Crichton's considered science fiction, and stuff like that. So I can see that. But I would really more consider this like a horror novel or um, something along those lines. So I think that's it for this one, peeps. Let me know down below. Have you read Frankenstein? Have you read the 1818 text? Have you read the other text? Have you read any of the texts? Did you read the? Oh, I was going. For those of you who did not watch my Junji Ito video, but you are interested in Frankenstein, Junji Ito had a really cool kind of twist on. Um, I would grab it, but it's over there. I didn't really intend upon doing this on this video. But so when Frankenstein was building the female monster, the monster brought him the head of the nanny that was for that killing his younger brother. And so I apologize if I just I did not turn my phone on do not disturbed. Um, so he used the head of her. I think her name was Catherine, but that might have been his sister cousin wife's name, or maybe Elizabeth. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. He used that head to create the monster. So that was a really cool twist to the Junji Ito. And if you are a fan of Frankenstein, I suggest picking up the Junji Ito. I'll put a link down below for the Junji Ito uh, version as well. It's only like half the book, and there's some other weird stories mixed in with it. So, but it's worth the $20 or wherever it costs, and it's worth the read if you're a fan of Frankenstein. Just the retelling and the little twists that Junji does, because he is kind of a master of weird, sick things. So that's it for this one, peeps. Cheers.